allies, who on paper oppose these regimes and groups, there remain strong support channels until the close of 2001. Through these channels, with the knowledge and support of the state, many companies circumvent national law, selling arms to hostile or warring nations or groups. France sold dozens of Exocet anti-ship missiles to Libya, which were subsequently used by Muammar al-Gaddafi to attack the U.S. Sixth Fleet. Germans traveled to Iran to work out a contract for the sale of 4 diesel submarines, which would be added to the armada with which Iran threatened the shipping lanes in the Persian Gulf. Austria officially condemned Iraq's use of gas in the Iran-Iraq War and offered the use of its hospitals for the treatment of Iraqi victims of gas attacks. Yet Austria exported the chemicals used to make the poisonous gas to Iraq. From the former West Germany, via Greek shipping offices, Iran obtained optics and range-finding equipment, as well as the G3 assault rifle, its standard infantry weapon. Nor is it only Iran and Iraq who benefited from industrial nations' desires to cash in on the arms market. Libya, which made little secret during the last 3 decades of the 20th century concerning its support for and commitment to groups and individuals engaging in terrorism against the West, was the recipient of considerable European assistance, only part of which took the form of arms sales. Italy, too, has had a strong trade relationship with Libya, averaging approximately $5 billion per year during the 1980s, when Libya owned 15% of Fiat Corporation. In May 1986, the former chief of the Italian intelligence service admitted that his service had helped Gaddafi get arms and assisted him on intelligence matters. Italy also sold a wide variety of arms to Libya, including Augusta anti-tank helicopters, Assad-class missile corvettes, self-propelled howitzers, automat missiles, and acoustic mines and torpedoes. Many of these weapons have subsequently found their way into the hands of terrorists. Athens, Greece, known as the cradle of democracy, has for years been the middleman through which transactions from the West are channeled to various protagonists in the Middle East and North Africa. Members of the Islamic Jihad, the Abu Nidal organization, and Abu Abbas operated freely through Greek borders. Cooperation between governments in the sales of arms has resulted in some strange bedfellows. None is perhaps stranger than the relationship between Israel and Iran in the 1980s, when Israel was one of Iran's biggest suppliers of armaments. In 1984, Israel sold 20 F-4 jet engines to Iran, routing the transaction through Greece to Tehran. In January 1985, Israel offered to sell, via telexes to brokers, including those in Iran, 150 U.S. Sidewinder air-to-air missiles. Defenders of such sales argue that the nations or groups would purchase such arms anyway, so why should Western nations not make the profit in these inevitable transactions? Such an argument is merely a rationalization of an economic reality that contravenes political policy. According to a report published in 2020 by the International Center for Counterterrorism, based in The Hague, the acquisition of small arms and light weapons, SALW, by terrorist perpetrators occurs through patterns that differ by region. Diversion, looting, battlefield recoveries, unauthorized transfers, domestic craft production, cross-border and maritime arms trafficking, and via global terrorist networks are also viable means of acquisition for arms by those carrying out terrorist acts. The economic ties forged by such transactions make it difficult for nations to take firm stands against terrorism or terrorist groups sponsored by the recipient nations. The stronger the economic linkage, the weaker is a government's response to restrict terrorism. The uneasy relationship between these buyers and sellers of arms clouds the issue of each nation's policy on terrorism. The seller nations, the purveyors of arms, find themselves in the dubious position of appearing to sponsor terrorism indirectly, which is an allegation they cannot completely dismiss.